Good morning, friends. Welcome to Take Two for this Tuesday, the 9th of April, 2019. I'm Jeannie. I'm so glad I could be with you today. Now, I'm going to like to keep this very short and sweet today. I started really rolling around in my head the whole idea about making and keeping commitments. There are just so many people in this world who make commitments, make promises, and they just end up in a trail of broken promises and unfulfilled commitments. And I think about a couple that I knew years ago. Their names were Tammy and Bill. Now, Tammy and Bill were together as a couple for a while dating. She was a single mother. There was an absent father situation. So she and Bill became very close, and before you know it, they decided that they were going to make a commitment to one another, and they were going to get married. So initially, she was in the process of transition in her own life, so he said, look, I have a house, come on and move in with me. So they started to live under the same roof, and the daughter as well, her daughter. And it went on, and before you know it, boys and girls, 12 years had passed, and they still weren't married. Now, Bill wanted desperately, he'd never been married before, he desperately wanted to marry Tammy. He loved her very much, and the little gal who, you know, her daughter that she brought over, he was like a dad to her, and but there was no commitment of marriage. Now, they had made a commitment of being a couple, and they had set up house together and all that kind of thing, but every time he approached the whole issue of marriage, she said, no, we'll talk about it later. See, she had been hurt. She had gone through a tremendous amount of pain in the past with an ex-husband, and she just was afraid to make a commitment and to keep a commitment. Now please understand, she had made a commitment to be exclusively this man's partner, but she was afraid to make the marriage commitment. Well, one day out of the blue, he said he was sitting at the computer and he was working, he was playing a game or something, and suddenly, doing their bills, suddenly she came over, Tammy tapped him on the shoulder and said, Bill, I think it's time we got married. And they did, and the rest is history, and they lived happily ever after. Well, let me explain something to you, boys and girls. This is very important that you understand this. They had been committed to each other, but he was always fearful that she was going to change her mind completely and one day leave. Now, of course, that didn't happen. But on the other hand, he didn't break his commitment either. See, now a lot of you might say, oh gosh, if I was him, I would have hit the road a long time ago, putting up with that for 12 years. And her not saying, I'll go ahead and marry you and we be married together, you know, because they had discussed it from the get-go. It wasn't like he got on one knee with a ring or anything. They, as adults, talked about it, made the commitment that they were going to be a couple and be married, and then she just kept shying away from the final step of making it, you know, a real marriage. And so he stayed with her, and he kept that commitment, and that was quite admirable of Bill to do such a thing as that. Now, there are times, don't get me wrong, boys and girls, there are times where leaving is the right thing to do in a case like that. But in this particular case, he knew, he understood, he worked with her, he knew her fears, all that kind of thing, and he was patient with her, and he kept his commitment. Well, think about all the things that you go through in the course of your life, in the course of your adult life particularly. You make a commitment to join a club and serve as an officer. You make a commitment to be in the church choir, or you make a commitment to do something for your community, or you say, I'm going to be a volunteer at the food bank, or I'm going to, any of these things. You make commitments, and then just like that, you drop that commitment and you say, well, I didn't have time for that. And you never even bother telling anybody why you're doing this. And that is not right. That's just being irresponsible. What about if you take on the commitment to say, look, I know that my sister, who's a single mom, I'm going to help her with her kids, or I'm going to help raise my grandchildren, or I'm going to do something to be helpful. And you say, I'm going to make that commitment, and then you do, and the first time the kids get out of control, you're like, I don't have time for this, and you break that commitment. That's not right, boys and girls. So here's my advice to you today. If you are going to make a commitment to something, make sure that you have your boundaries, okay? Make sure you're not just doing it because someone is coercing you or trying to make you feel bad or make you feel guilty. Boy, if you really cared about me as a friend, you'd go ahead and serve on this committee with me, or you'd go ahead and do this, or even you would marry me, and when it's not the one. Please hear what I'm saying. If in fact you are going to make a commitment, make sure that it's the right commitment to make. Now, if you've already made a commitment and you've been stretched way too thin, you might have to drop some things off. You may have to. And if you do, make sure that you drop off of your commitment in a correct, proper, and polite way. Don't just stop doing something when somebody's expecting you to pick them up or expecting you to do something that you've made a commitment to or serve on a committee or even a job. I remember when I worked in retail management, there would be times where young kids who, or even older people who worked at the store would say, well, I feel like going to the beach today. It's way too nice and sunny out there. Forget this. I'm not going to work today. And they wouldn't even bother pick up a phone and say, I'm not coming in today. They just would not show up. Well, that's not right. That is breaking your commitment of being employed by the store. Don't do that. Now, there are extenuating circumstances, or you might be sick, or a family thing turns up and you just have no choice. You have to take the time off. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about making a commitment to be an employee, to be a partner, to be a team member, to be on a committee, to serve as a leader, and then dropping the ball. Please, boys and girls, 2 things. Hear me now. Before you make a commitment, make sure this is right that you're supposed to. And the second is, if you have made a commitment, please keep it. And if you can't, please make sure that when you do leave this commitment, that you do it properly. Okay? It's just called common courtesy. All right. Hey, no props, no nothing today. It's just me. I hope my words resonated with your heart. I hope that I touched you today, because I'm speaking from my own personal experiences. Hey, go be a blessing to somebody today. You might end up being the only one who is. Remember, that's important. If you know somebody who's stretched a little too thin or is faltering on making a commitment or is breaking a commitment when they really shouldn't, go be that encouragement to them and let them know the value of doing it the right way. And don't forget to become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. If you make a commitment to that, I promise you I will do a fresh one every Monday through Friday, unless I can't be here for some reason, and I will make sure that you get that and it's delivered right into your inbox with hitting that little bell, okay? And also, of course, don't forget to listen to my radio station, WRMZ.org, and click the listen button. Did I tell you? My YouTube channel, Jeanne Sigler, Jeannesigler. I almost forgot there for just a minute. Okay, everybody, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for Hump Day. You be blessed. And I'm committing to you today that I am going to be thinking good thoughts and good prayers to you, because I love you all very much. I'll see you tomorrow. That's a commitment. Bye-bye.